All right, so let's get started. So I'm sitting here just so you guys can see. For this first class, I'm definitely going to go over some basics, okay? I am on my knees on actually two meditation cushions. I have a bolster and a cushion underneath me. And we're all going to start off in our mountain, whether it's a seated mountain in a chair or whether you're on the floor on a cushion, okay? And what I'd like to do is introduce a seated meditation called a microcosmic orbit, and then we'll move into some movement, okay? And well, there's many wonderful things about Qigong, but one of them is the movement meditation, okay? So wherever you are, if you're in a chair or on a cushion, we begin to align the body. So broaden your collarbones, lift up your sternum, draw the belly button in slightly. And if you're in a chair, please find that you're not leaning against the back of the chair, unless you need to. But if you don't, and again, try to notice the difference between a habituated pattern and a choice. Okay. So if you can, come away from the back of the chair. Find that your knees are over your ankles, your feet are parallel, hip width apart, and ideally no shoes. Okay. Great. Hi, Christopher. Thanks for joining. We're beginning with our seated mountain, whether it's on a meditation cushion or in a chair. Okay, and then from here, what I also like to do, because we have a tendency to collapse in the side body, is I like to take my hands to my ribs and get them up off of my hips. All right, we also have a tendency to forget that we are three-dimensional creatures and existing beyond this time and space. And then before we begin to utilize any kind of mudra, just bring your awareness to your right foot if you're seated, and if you're on your knees, or if you're in Sukhasana, if you're sitting cross-legged, press the edge of the foot into the ground. And just notice how that movement travels up the rest of the body. And then take a deep inhale with me. Hold it gently. And then exhale. And then bring your awareness to your left foot or shin, right? If you're on your knees like I am. And if you're on your knees, press the shin down, the top of the foot shin down. And if you're seated in a chair, press the foot down. Right? And you can kind of experiment with that too, like press and release. Press and release. And notice as we kind of slow everything down, how one movement affects everything else. Right? These kinds of practices are the embodiment of the wisdom practices. And then notice what happens if you press both feet down or both edges of the feet down, both shins, as we inhale. And then as you exhale, whatever length that you've gained in your spine, try to keep it there as you then release. You can bring your awareness to your right eardrum and then your left. Notice what you hear and where you hear it in your body. Notice what you taste and where you taste it on your tongue. And perhaps even notice what you smell or don't smell. And throughout this practice, we always come back to noticing and noticing. There's no judgment in noticing, there's just noticing. And if you're not noticing something in particular, that is also a noticing. And we're going to do 2 more boxed breaths. So take a deep inhale. Gently hold it. And exhale slowly. And again, deep inhale. Gently hold it, slight tuck in the chin. And exhale. Okay. And we're going to move into the microcosmic orbit, which is a seated meditation practice. I'm going to describe it just for a little bit. And I ask you also to notice how utilizing breath work, utilizing awareness of the body tends to quiet the monkey mind. Okay. It's very helpful for me. It puts a pause on all of the things. Yeah. When we do microcosmic orbit, and especially when I'm working with people who have a hard time focusing, which is pretty much almost everyone these days, right? As we're going into year 2 of the pandemic. And all of our nervous systems are taxed. Focus is one of the things that tends to go out the window first. And monkey mind comes flooding back in. Monkey mind, for those of you who are not familiar, is the constantly chattering mind, right? That's telling you you have to do this and this and this, or you're not good enough, or you're, it's exhausting. So tips on dealing with monkey mind are, I've always found it useful to name it. Mine is named Carlos. Carlos had triplets last year, like very loud. Right? Right, but you can notice when that arises and, and be like, all right, what's up, Carlos? And the triplets, And sometimes we can just let them be. And then at other times, it's useful to have skills to quiet the mind so we can focus, okay? So the microcosmic orbit is such a beautiful practice because what it does is it cycles energy through us and it gives us a goal, right? When you focus the mind, then you start to habituate focusing the mind, okay? In Qigong, there's 3 main, Qi being energy, Gong being cultivation, okay? There's 3 main energy sources. There's many, but the 3 main ones are the earth, okay? And I encourage you also to look at this from a scientific point of view. The amount of energy that the earth puts out and the gravitational and magnetic energy that it puts out moves through our bodies. And it is a life source. So there's the earth. The parallel of that in our own bodies is what is known as the lower dantian. And the lower dantian is just below our belly buttons, like right about here. Okay. And then the other, there's 3. The other is the human. Right? The energy of our own hearts, known as the torus, extends about 12 feet around us. And we can feel it, right? We're constantly gravitating around people, right, that make us feel good, that help our nervous systems feel safe, okay? Unless you are constantly gravitating around people that remind you of some past trauma, right? And then that's another pattern, ideally, that we break. But this is why we tend to gravitate around certain people. We feel their energy even before we talk to them, right? It's like when somebody's walking down the street and your body's like, yeah, I'm going to cross the street. Right. So this energy, right, through these practices, it actually begins to expand. And that's the middle dantian. And that's the human and our hearts. And then the third dantian is associated with all of the energy that is coming from the sun and the moon and the stars. All of the energy that literally feeds all of the plants, that makes it our planet safe in the Goldilocks zone, right? And that is also associated with the energy of the spirit. Okay. And what we're going to do is cycle that energy through us, and then we'll come and do some standing practice. So what we do is we take 3 breaths in each area. And I'm going to encourage you to utilize this as a diagnostic tool. All of these practices are a diagnostic tool. In fact, everything is a diagnostic tool. Okay, but this is also related to our bodies as well and how they're functioning, which is why Qigong is also a healing art. Okay. And what we're going to do is utilize a pure yan, yan being associated with the sun, right? This is yin and yang, in which we are always seeking balance. Pure yan mudra is the thumb, pinky, and middle finger coming together. Yeah. And the idea with this is that it's like there's 2 magnets or 3 magnets there, just kind of keeping it there, right? And we're going to bring it right below the lower dantian. Okay. And notice how like you can just let your arms hang like mine are. Okay, and as with any meditation practice, you can do this with your eyes open or closed, however you feel comfortable. All right, we're going to do 2 cycles, and we'll add one last breath at the end. And also in Qigong, just like in yoga, we're utilizing kind of locks, right? In yoga land, it's mula bandha, right? You draw up on the pelvic floor. In Qigong, it's known as the earthly door. So you want to draw up, and that's an energetic, right? So you can kind of play with that, like release it, draw it up. And the idea is that you don't want to let your energy spill out of you, okay? And then the crown of the skull is open. And in Qigong, that is known as the heavenly gate. All right, so I'll just guide us through this. And what you can think of is that your hands are like a funnel for all of the energy of the heavens to flow into. So take a deep inhale. Hold it gently. And exhale slowly. And again, deep inhale. Hold it in gently. And exhale slowly, allowing this light and energy to begin to move into the lower dantian of you. And one more deep inhale. And exhale. And then take another inhalation. And then on the exhale, send that light and energy over the back of the spine and over your skull to the upper dantian. And you can press your thumbs into where your third eye would be. And now begin to funnel light and energy into your own spirit. So deep inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. And if you need to release the breath before I give the prompt, please do. Please honor your lungs. This is a way also of building lung capacity. And exhale. Another inhale. I like to imagine that I'm drawing in all of the wisdom and compassion of the Buddhas into me as I do this. And exhale. And then slowly, slowly bring your hands down to right in front of your sternum at the middle dantian. And we'll do 3 more breaths here. So deep inhale. Holding it gently. And then exhale, allow all of this energy to flow into your heart, nourishing it. And again, inhale. Hold it gently. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. You may start to feel some heat building in your hands, perhaps your chest. Now we'll come back down to the lower dantian. We'll do 1 more orbit. So deep inhale as you bring your hands down. And then exhale. Perhaps you can feel this light and energy flowing into your hips, through your knees, into your feet, rooting you to the earth. And again, deep inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Take another inhale. And then send that light and energy skipping over the back of the spine, over the skull, to the upper dantian. Just noticing any colors or thoughts that arise, watching them pass. Deep inhale here. Funneling perhaps the wisdom of the eons into you. As we exhale, you can feel this moving into the spaces in your brain and your eyes. And again, inhale. Exhale. And one more deep inhale. And exhale. And then slowly, slowly, slowly back to the heart. Inhaling, embracing this breath. And exhale, nourishing. And again, inhale. And exhale. Perhaps remembering that as you nourish yourself, you better nourish your ability to nourish others. One more deep inhale. And exhale. Okay, for the next 3 breaths, I'm going to encourage you to bring your hands, the mudra, to whichever dantian you think needs more of your attention right now. For me, it's definitely my heart. Okay, so I'm going to be right here. Okay, and choose, attend to yourself. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Deep inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. And then wherever your hands are, just bring them slowly back down to the lower dantian. Noticing what you notice. And then kind of peel the hands apart. Turn the palms up. Feeling all of the energy of the heavens, meaning the sun, stars, and the moon, fall into your palms. And then turn the palms down. Feel the energy of the earth rising up to meet your palms. And then slowly, slowly press down and bring your hands to the human. The precious human. And notice maybe muscle, bone, tissue. Okay. That's the microcosmic orbit. If you're seated cross-legged or in Virasana as I was, please move your legs around. Yeah, you can extend them. So that was a pretty good sit, yeah. And as I mentioned, I'm curious what came up for you guys, and we can talk about it for a little bit, and then we're going to do some movement, because I don't like just to like say words. I like to have an understanding of what you understand, and what arises for you, you know. It's interesting for me because I've been focusing my practice so much on prostrations, and then I've gotten an injury, and then I do microcosmic orbit, and I'm like, oh, like it's another tool for wisdom, you know. And whatever's happening in here is always the parallel to how we are in the world as well, you know, which is really interesting. It's like, are you feeling grounded? You know, is your heart open? Are you seeing clearly? Right. And so for me, my heart was like, oh, right. So did anybody experience anything that they had a realization about, or that they wanted to ask a question on? We'll keep it brief, okay? And then we'll do some standing, but I'm very curious to know.
Well, one thing I noticed, Gina, still feel warm. I feel warm all over.
Yeah.
And the next thing I want to ask you, can you explain the mudra again briefly? What is it called, and how does it work?
So, you know, there's different channels in our bodies, and different meridians. And, you know, we go from where there's the subtle body meridians, and then there's the gross anatomical meridians as well, right? And this is through, so Qigong is utilizing Chinese medicine and Taoism. And then, but the same parallels are also found in Tibetan medicine. And so it's basically like, and what we'll do next week is I want to do an organ clearing practice with you, in which you're utilizing different mudras, right? But like, let's all experiment with this. So just take your thumb to your middle finger. Okay, and just notice where you feel that in your body. And it may be very subtle, and it may be very strong. Okay, and then release it. Right, so what it is a circuit. And each finger is associated with a different organ and a different element. So yang, that sun energy, right, rising energy, we'll do a practice to kind of play with that too. Yang is associated also with the heart and fire. And the middle finger is the heart and fire, right? So what we're doing is we're bringing them all together like this. And for me, I remember the first time I did this practice specifically, it felt like this umbilical cord flowing into my hands and connecting me, you know, to the universal energy. And then through my Buddhist practice, it connects me to, as I mentioned, kind of eons of beings who've come before me, but who are still here. You know, and so I draw in energy, but also wisdom and compassion, and, you know, from my practice. Was that helpful?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Great, you're welcome. And the heat, like we'll start playing with chi balls. Like you'll start to, in fact, if you do this, you may notice that your upper hand can draw a pattern on your bottom hand, and they're not touching. And that's why it's also a healing practice. Yeah. Anybody have any other thoughts? Yeah, Joanna.
I noticed a difference in the amount of energy in each location, and specifically in the lower part, it was almost blocked, or it felt blocked, whereas I could feel it flowing more from the head or from the heart. But there was like a block or something. I couldn't necessarily notice that. Is that normal or?
Totally normal. It's totally normal. So in the same way, right, so that's information, right? And so for me, what I do is I either stay there for longer, right, and just really kind of focus energy on that. I also utilize that information and like, what is the parallel to my life, right? And then also I'll do like practices, standing practice, like we're going to do, that will help move that energy in there, right? Because the idea is that we want energy moving through us, through our joints, through our organs, right? Ideally, so that we can better utilize energy for the benefit of others. And it's totally, you know, totally normal. It's all normal. We're all human having this experience. But that's also helpful for me to know, because then I can offer some practice that may be useful for you. The thing I'm going to add, and then we're going to stand up and we'll do like a real quick shake, and then move into some basic practices, which are not so basic, but is that ideally, right, through the microcosmic orbit and in our lives, all three become one. And it's just this, right? Which is also the central channel is open. And in Qigong land, it's known as the spiritual needle. Okay. There's these really beautiful parallels in the practices. And as I said, they're all about how can we become our best, whatever that means. How about our most whole selves, right? So that how can we become integrated within ourselves so that we can better help integrate the whole of us, you know, with compassion and hopefully some humor. So we're going to stand up and do some standing practice. Let me move this back. And thank you for your questions and your observations. They were awesome and really helpful for me as well, because I've also felt those. So we're going to do a real quick shake. Sometimes a shake can be done for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes even a half an hour. The idea behind a shake, and it's kind of like capital S, is that we disorganize this thing, right, in all of its habituated patterns, and then reorganize through form. All right. We'll start off in our standing mountain. Okay, the feet can be together or hip width apart, depending upon whatever's going on with your feet or your hips or your SI joint. I'm going to have mine together, and I'm going to lift up my lower ribs and smooth down my lower back. Okay. And in the same way that when I hear a meditation bell and my mind goes like, whoop, right, starts to focus, this starts to align my body and my mind. And I'm going to utilize my hands in a Tai Chi mudra, okay? The hands come together at the thumb webbing just below the lower dantian. We'll do just 2 breaths here. So crown of the skull is open, that's the heavenly gate. Earthly door is closed, so draw up on the pelvic floor. And then put a slight grip in your toes, okay? As we inhale and exhale. And the grip in the toes, that's called the bubbling well, in which the arches of the feet pop up. But again, that's another way to draw energy into our bodies. As we inhale and exhale. See if you can notice all of the space around you. And as we move, just see if you can notice how you are dispersing molecules of air. Inhale. Release the mudra. Bring your awareness to the air on your right hand and your left. Exhale. Maybe even notice how the air moves between your fingers. And then take one step to the right. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, send them into the sky. And again, inhale, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, allow the sky to enter you. Feel it move through your fingertips in each joint, wrists, elbows, shoulders. All of the spaciousness of the sky entering you. And maybe your heels come up off the ground. And then take another inhale. And we're going to bring the arms down shoulder height, slight bend in the elbows, holding the sky in your palms. Begin to bend down to whatever degree possible. Keep the upper body up. Exhale. Inhale. Pump up and release. Oh, and then, so this is kind of the most fun part. Let me just make sure of the time, right? So what we're going to do is undo those patterns. Shake everything out. So this is going to be a quick shake. Next week is going to be a little longer, but methodically start moving through the body. You can tap the fingertips on the skull, right? Notice the crown of the skull, where the bones come together. That's very different than the rest of the skull. Run your hands through your hair, which just feels amazing. So there's many, many meridians in the scalp. And then take two fingers, the forefinger and middle finger together, right next to the sides of the nose, like this. And then, right, to help clear the sinuses. And then you can run your hands down your throat. Okay, these are, the Qigong is not just a healing art, but it's kind of seen as a preventative medicine as well, right? So you can notice, are your glands swollen? And right now what we're doing is helping drain lymph nodes. Right, and so in touching the body, you begin to know the body. This is your body. And sometimes we forget that everything that we experience in this life is because we have a body. Yeah. Oh, that feels good. And this might be nice for you. Take your hand, get your hair out of the way if you need to, and then just reach back and like grasp the muscles of the neck like you were picking up a cat. Inhaling, exhaling. And then we're going to start patting. Utilize that sound. With energy. If I have any chest congestion, this will help break it up. I do. Both hands. Have you noticed the difference between the right and left lung? Really. Down to the abdomen. crests. And then the top of each leg and the foot. And the backs of each leg. And that SI joint, mine is a little wacky, so I'm going to be here for a second. Right, that's back here. One arm. Right, you may notice I'm puttering my lips. Helps release tension in my jaw. I do it a lot, especially on the subway. And this way, inside. And then one last thing on the shake, we'll do a little freestyle too. Take your hands, rub them together, right? So the heat of the heart is in the palms. Inhaling, exhaling, we're making some fire. Inhale, bring your hands to your kidneys, lift the chest, exhale into your palms. So the heat of the heart helps to warm the kidneys, which for many of us get very taxed to adrenal fatigue or exhaustion from stress. Also feels really nice. And you may notice like one kidney feels different than the other. Do that one more time. Inhale, hands to the kidneys. Exhale into them. And then we're just gonna freestyle for like 10 seconds, okay? Like move whatever needs to be moved, unstuck the stuckedness. As I feel like Rabina would appreciate this, but you know, unfuck the fuckery. All right, and then slow it down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just stop. And notice. You may feel vibration, tingling. Perhaps even notice where in your body there is none. And then from here, inhale. Step the right foot back to the left. The fingertips face each other, the palms face the earth. We're smoothing down the subtle body meridians. Right, I'm not touching my physical body. Come back into the Taiji Mudra. Okay, and we're gonna move into form. So let's step out into a horse stance. And this can be, depending upon whatever is happening with you, this can be really deep. Sometimes I like to go really deep. I'm gonna make this a little bit more shallow, okay? And so for those of you that have ridden horses, you know that if you start doing this, that horse is gonna kick you off, right? Right? Hold the upper body up. So we're gonna do the 3 treasures. Remember, the 3 treasures are the earth, the human, and the heavens. So hands are here in the ready position. That's it. And they're kind of cupped a little bit. Yeah. That looks great, everybody. And then turn the palms up. Inhale. When you get right about here, chest high, roll the shoulders back, and then turn the palms up to the sun. Arms are bent. Exhale. Pause for a moment. Okay, one of the greatest superpowers is photosynthesis. And that's what we're going to do. Allow all of the light of the heavens, the energy, to fall into your palms. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, straighten your legs, press out. Yeah, through the palms. Inhale. Exhale. Press out even more. Get a little space between your sternum and your ribs. And inhale. Exhale, now straighten the hands, spreading the fingers wide. Engaging the entire body. Perhaps your fingertips can touch the sides of the room. And if I asked you to actually touch the sides of the room with the consciousness in your fingers, you could. You know what it feels like, the wall or the glass. Expand yourself. And then inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Okay, and if your hamstrings are tight, please put a bend in your knees. We'll hang just for a second. Let your head hang. Let it wag yes and no. Let the weight of your head lengthen your neck. And then inhale. Bend the knees. As you slowly exhale, draw the energy of the earth into your body as you roll up. Feel the energy of the earth nourish your organs, your lungs, and then again, turning the palms up and inhale. We'll do that 2 more times, okay? 3 treasures. Don't forget about the earthly doors and the heavenly gate. So crown of the skull is open, pelvic floor drawn up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, straighten the legs, press out. Inhale. Exhale, expand. That looks great, everybody. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Exhale, roll up, drawing the earth into you, slowly, slowly. Nourishing your intestines, spleen, liver, kidneys, lungs, heart. Turn the palms up. Inhale, gather. Exhale. Pause for a moment. Feel all of this energy move into your palms, down your arms, nourishing your bones and muscles, tendons, ligaments. Inhale. Exhale, press out. Inhale. Exhale, expand. Wrap your arms around the planet. Send a little loving kindness. Inhale. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, roll up slowly. And just pause right here. And notice. And then from here, what we're going to do is inhale, bring the palms up, and then just kind of heel toe the feet together a little closer, and then press down. Yeah. We're going to do one more movement. It's one of my favorites. I've been playing with this a lot, and I'll show you what it looks like from the side. And all of these movements, they're kind of the most basic, but the most profound. So I'm in a little more than hip width apart, slight bend in my knees. My palms are facing behind me. Mary, I think we just started to do this in the last series. This is called raise hands, okay? So I'm going to inhale. And I'm facing a lake right now, so this is pretty cool. Okay, and the hands are up here, about a little bit lower than shoulder height. And my fingers are kind of reaching out and gathering energy, feeling all of the fluctuations. And then what I'm going to do is inhale, draw that back like I'm sliding my hands along a table. And then exhale, push down. Okay, we're going to do that a couple times. I encourage you, if you feel comfortable, try and do this with your eyes closed. Or just soften your gaze. Okay, so here we are. Knees are slightly bent, palms are facing behind me. Earthly doors closed. Heavenly gate is open. We're going to see with our bodies. Inhale. Draw back. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. Noticing time and space flow around you. And again, inhale. Right? Hearing, listening, feeling with our bodies. Draw back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And again, inhale. Drawing universal energy into you as you draw your arms back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, press down. One more. All right, you can make this a really big undulation, which is kind of fun. Inhale. And then drawing back slowly, slowly. Right? Every movement spreading outward. Exhale. Inhale. Breath pattern change there. And then just exhale. And then step the right foot back to the left. Draw the arms around. Again, fingertips face each other, palms face the earth. And we'll end in the Taiji Mudra again. Hands just below the belly button. Pause and notice. And then release the mudra again, turning the palms up to feel the energy of the heavens. And then the earth. And the human. Okay, and we'll just come and sit. Because I know, Rabina has started. Uh-oh. All right. So if you guys have any questions, please send them to me. You can reach me. I think my email's on the line, but I am going to end because it's 12:02. Apologies for going over a little bit. This is the formal closing. This is the earth, the heavens, and the human. May you all be happy, peaceful, safe, and at ease.